Hey everyone, Tyler Clark here with Auth0. Today I'm going to be talking about multi-factor authentication, what it is, and how you can set it up within your app. Because user credential breaches have become much more common in the recent years, authenticating someone simply with username and passwords is not the best practice anymore. Multi-factor authentication provides a method to verify user identity by requiring them to provide more than one piece of identifying information. The category that you use to identify a user is called an authentication factor. In general, these identification factors fall into three authentication factor categories. Something you know, like a password or PIN, something you have, which can be a physical item like a cell phone, or something you are, which is like biometric data in a fingerprint or retina scan. By default, multi-factor authentication is not turned on within your Auth0 tenant. Let's go through each one of these, set them up, and see what they look like. First up, let's add push notification using Guardian. Guardian is an app that lives on your mobile device and will send your phone a notification asking for permission to finish the authentication flow. So let's enable this here with this toggle. And then back on the previous page at the bottom, now that we have one enabled, we can always require users to use an additional factor to log in. We'll save this here. And then back on this tab, Getting Started, there's an option here that we can run and try out our universal login to see what it looks like. So if we try that out, you'll see that we're given the option to download the Auth0 Guardian app for free. This is available on the App Store and Google Play. Once you have that downloaded to your phone, you click I already downloaded it, and you're going to get a QR code that's going to pair with the app that you downloaded to your phone. Once you accept the notifications, you're given a recovery code in case you need to log in without your device. Save this code here somewhere, then click on the next arrow. Perfect. Now you're all set. In the future when logging in, you'll want to have your device handy as it states here. As you can see, I've received a push notification to my phone, so I can remember this browser if I'd like, and on my phone I'm given a notification that if I accept it, then I'll continue with this authentication flow. Once I accept that notification, the authentication flow will continue on. Next up is Cisco Duo, which is a multi-factor authentication provider and can be used on your Auth0 tenant if all other factors are disabled. Your Duo account can be configured to support push notifications, SMS messaging, one-time passwords, phone callbacks, and more. You'll have to create an integration in Duo Security of type Web SDK and capture the assigned credentials that you see needed here. The Duo flow will look similar to our Guardian setup. While authenticating, you'll be asked by which factor through Duo you would like to use. Whichever one you choose is which will happen on your mobile device. Next up is getting a one-time passcode from Google Authenticator or similar. Now in the auth flow, we are asked to either scan this QR code with Google Authenticator or similar app like Guardian if we haven't done so, then enter in the passcode that appears within these apps. You'll then see the same flow as we saw when setting up Guardian before, and then eventually complete the auth flow. Next up, we have sending a phone message, which as it states, this option either sends a text message or does a voice call with a verification code. Within this factor, you can choose to use the Auth0 delivery provider, which has a limit of 100 messages per tenant and only does messages, connect to Twilio for messages and calls, or use another third-party app which does the same. With the Auth0 option selected, I'm only able to do the SMS delivery method, though when I click on Twilio or Custom, I can do any of the three, which are SMS by itself, SMS and voice, which allows users to choose how to receive their code, and voice by itself. If SMS is chosen, the flow will look like this. Users will enter their phone number, then enter in the code they received that gets texted to them, and then also save the recovery code. If you give users the choice between SMS or phone message, the flow will look similar but a little bit different. The initial view will still ask for their number, but there are two buttons that ask for their preference. Then depending on which one they select, that is where the code will go. Of course, when using Twilio or another custom option, you'll need to enter in your Twilio and custom account information in order to make the integration work. And as you can see, you have the ability to modify the message that gets sent to your users, which gives you even more control over the functionality of your multi-factor authentication. Once you're happy with this, make sure to click Save. Next up is another easy factor, emailing a verification code. With this enabled, your users will receive an email with a passcode to complete the authentication flow. If you're interested in customizing the look and feel of this email template, go ahead to Branding and then Email Templates. Inside of this drop-down, you'll see one that says Verification Email using code. In here, you can customize the HTML and CSS of this email. Check out the link at the top of your screen, which is to a video that goes into more detail on how to customize this. And finally, let's talk about Web Authn. The Web Authentication API, also known as Web Authn, is a specification written with participation of many large corporations like Google and Microsoft. It allows users to authenticate using two types of authenticators. The first are platform authenticators like the MacBook's Touch Bar, Face ID, and Fingerprint. The second are roaming authenticators, which are removable, cross-platform, like a YubiKey, and can be used on multiple devices. These connect through USB, NFC, Bluetooth to provide proof of presence. Right now, Auth0 supports the roaming authenticators and will soon support the platform authenticators. As you can see, you have the option to discourage, prefer, and require the use of Web Authn by your users. Once enabled, the flow will look like this. Your users will be asked to set up a security key on the initial login. They'll be given instructions on how and when to insert their key, and then Auth0 will wait looking for your security key. Once they accept the permissions, your users can name their key, which will be added, and finally given a recovery code. Then, the next time they try to authenticate, after that initial screen, Auth0 will wait for the security key and response from the browser before continuing on. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to get notified about new videos.